Welcome to the show. This is No Interference. We are your hosts, Westside, Big Sass, and the Bull. Thank you for joining us today. We're just going to do a little more free agency, off-season coverage, chit-chat about what's going on in the league. It's going to be a nice, relaxed show. So,
Isn't that relaxed?
well, sometimes,
I'm stressed.
RJ comes in hot. Long weeks, you never know. But we've talked about this probably the last three shows, but the Lamar Jackson saga continues. He is still yet to be traded. Negotiations with the Ravens seem to have been cut off. So what do we think now that we're going on week 2 of free agency and there's been no progress?
Well, we have this little tidbit from our buddy Adam Schefter 47 minutes ago. This is a source. NFL sent a memo to all clubs letting them know that the NFLPA informed the league that a person by the name of Ken Francis, who is not an NFLPA certified agent, may be contacting teams and attempting to persuade them persuade team personnel to enter into negotiations with Lamar Jackson. So that's kind of been the story the last couple of days, that this non-certified NFLPA agent, which I'd never heard about until the last couple of days, or I just forgot, had been trying to talk teams into signing him and telling him that he's done with the Ravens. So pretty interesting stuff. Does it come off as desperation for Lamar Jackson? The whole thing's just like this is like one of the weirdest free agency sagas I can remember in forever.
I feel like the longer this goes,
for a player of this caliber.
Yeah, I feel like the longer this goes on, the closer we're getting to Lamar just sitting out a season.
So what happened to Deshaun Watson last year after he sat out a year and a half?
The Deshaun Watson thing I feel like is different because that had there was legal stuff going on too, so it was a little bit easier for him to let let me step back into the shadow.
Yeah, and just not playing for that amount of time.
And
stay away.
And Lamar Jackson's also would be forfeiting $32 million, which isn't what he wants, but that's still a large chunk of money, or whatever the non-exclusive or exclusive tag.
I just feel like it seems like he doesn't want to play for the Ravens anymore. And while any one of us could argue, there are a lot of teams in the league that should be jumping at the chance to get Lamar for 2 first-round picks or potentially less. But for all we know, these teams are negotiating, with him, his mom, or his team, and his team saying, "You can talk to us, but this is the deal we want," and they're not budging. And the rest of the league, similar to the Ravens, is saying, "We don't want to pay you that much," and we're stuck in this twilight zone.
If you're a team, we've probably talked about this already, what we think. I don't think that he doesn't want to leave the Ravens. I think he's not getting the offer he wanted from the Ravens to start, because obviously they have the upper hand with negotiations, as in they've obviously been negotiating for a long time. He's not getting what he wants, so he's like, okay, I'm ready to move on from the Ravens to get the money I want. I think if the Ravens came to him today and be like, okay, here's whatever you want guaranteed, he would sign and he would stay. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes to cause friction or whatever. But is it teams? Do you guys think there's any validity to owners coming together in the background and be like, we're not going to give in to this, whatever this guy wants?
Yeah, I think there is validity, and I don't have a problem with it.
I don't know if I do either.
Especially when it comes to guaranteed.
Go get your money, but bless you. But I'm also fine with. I mean, hey, owners, they're the owners. They run the league. If the owners, come together and say, "Hey, none of us are going to give you that much money. This is what you got to take." That's your option as a player. You can take it or you can not. And then if you don't, you have to deal with the consequences. But we've all been saying for a long time the fact that, this player at this position who's amazing, signs a record breaking deal. And then the next year, the best available player who isn't even that great has another record breaking deal, and it just keeps on going,
keeps going, yeah.
And it's constantly players. And then what happens is the really good players keep renegotiating because they're going, "Oh, this guy over here is nowhere near as good as I am. Why is he making more money than me? I'm not happy." And the owners, will redo the deal. So I'm honestly fine if the owners are putting their foot down and saying, "Hey, sorry, we're not playing this game anymore."
Eventually the contracts get to $1 billion contracts. Like, this is just gonna get stupid at some point.
Do you think that Lamar Jackson has preferences on where he wants to play, or do you think he just wants to get the bag?
A bit of both. I have a feeling he wants to go to warm weather or an indoor area.
So we're hearing a lot of the Colts should be a team trying to get him.
I mean, they have the most salary cap.
He wants to play there?
But I wouldn't want to play there.
Well, the thing about the Colts is they're going to run an offense that's tailored to him because it's from the Philadelphia scheme.
Shane Steichen.
They do have a few. They have Jonathan Taylor, who with Lamar, there's no reason why he shouldn't return to form. Quentin Nelson is one of the best left guards in football. The right tackle, yeah. But, give him Lamar and he might get better. Braden Smith is a solid right tackle. Michael Pittman is... Well, they have all these big receivers, and that's, kind of what Lamar likes. He likes throwing jump balls to big bodies. And they also have tons of cap, so they can they could give him a good contract. They could, in theory, front load it so the Ravens have no option to match it. And they could still have leeway to, bring in a player or two to sweeten the deal for Lamar.
Odell, another wide receiver.
Yeah, and they have the fourth overall. The Colts have the 4th overall pick. So, I mean, I know it's not really a trade, but still, the Ravens should be if they're not gonna, that should entice them to not match the offer, in my opinion, because then the Ravens could go out and get one of those top 4 quarterbacks if they want.
Start over again.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say.
But yeah, back to what you're saying. I think it's a combination of Lamar has places he wants to go. He's really dead set on getting that, that certain amount of payday. And I also think, he also has, I think the NFLPA, their support is also hurting him because while they want what's best for Lamar, they also want what's best for the players, which is Lamar to get a big deal and to get a lot of guaranteed money so they can use that as a reference moving forward.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson sent a tweet out today too of that Ben Affleck meme where he's ripping a cig.
Oh yeah,
he's and it's him and there's somebody photoshopped a Lamar Jackson jersey on him. Other thing too is he has this random. He's tweeting out stuff like that, and he's got this random non-certified agent out there talking to teams on his behalf. He doesn't want to hire an agent, but he wants to do that and have whatever his mom's doing. And then, God, my memory is just not good today. I had one other point.
Take that alpha brain or whatever.
I should. God, I can't even remember the point I had. It was a great point to make, and now it's gone. I don't know. Do you guys think there's any chance that he goes back to the Ravens?
Nope. I think there's a chance the Ravens retain him and he doesn't play.
Let me give you 3 scenarios. He signs with the Ravens. He doesn't play next year. or he signs with another team? What's the most likely?
At least you're gonna. Oh, he signs. He doesn't play, or he goes somewhere else. I think most likely is he goes somewhere else. Second likely is he goes to the Ravens and sits out, and then I think by far the least likely is he
out before playing for the Ravens.
I don't think he'll play for the Ravens. I think that bridge is burned.
Somebody who's about money sitting out, not getting $32 million.
Also, but you got to think he's been injured 2 years in a row. So
how much of that is his injury versus doesn't want to risk injury?
Well, okay, if you're someone like
we'll
that,
never know. But
if you're someone like that though, who's going to sit out because they're protecting themselves, are you going to play on a 1-year deal and risk blowing out your knee?
I mean, it's dangerous, and it would cause big issues around the league with the players and media and stuff. But like, if this stuff gets tricky and he doesn't sign anywhere and doesn't play this year, he could be blackballed from the league.
We've seen it happen. I mean, we've seen it happen. Well, enough about Lamar. Moving on to the second most popular quarterback in the league, Aaron Rodgers. This whole him going to the Jets deal is still pending. We've seen the Jets sign Alan Lazard. They just traded Elijah Moore to the Browns. They are still talks with them, and OBJ is kind of heating up. I think Odell Beckham tweeted out something that he wants to get this deal with the Jets done, and he's ready to play. Do we think this is basically a done deal, or do we think it's still up in the air?
RJ,
I mean, I don't know about the Jets 100% yet. I mean, is it just them figuring out the individualistics, the details? I don't know. I just feel like it's going on forever. When if it was such a done deal, it would have happened already. I think it'll end up happening. It's just I don't know.
I mean, Rodgers definitely likes to play, his cards close to the vest. If it's clear he doesn't want to play for the Packers anymore, the biggest hurdle is just his salary cap hit. But the Jets can absorb that. They can do that no problem. And the Jets owner clearly wants to win. He wants to at least have some playoff success. They have a playoff defense. Their defense is legit. Their O-line, as long as people are healthy, they have a good offensive line, if healthy. Breece Hall should be coming back, ready to go. Those injuries aren't as bad as they once were. And like we've said in the past few shows, you don't need Hall of Fame MVP Aaron Rodgers. You just need, be efficient. Don't turn the ball over, Aaron Rodgers, and they're going to go to the playoffs. And the simple fact that we haven't heard, to my knowledge, we haven't heard any other team come out and say they're interested. So I think this is going to happen, and I think maybe as we get closer to the draft, we're going to see this deal get done.
Yeah, I mean,
it's taking a while.
What choice do the Green Bay Packers have at this point? Aaron Rodgers already came out and publicly said he doesn't want to play for them, essentially, and he wants to play for the Jets. If the Packers don't trade him, I mean, I wouldn't put it past Aaron Rodgers just retiring. Now, if they're stuck in talks, what's fair in the deal? Who knows what the Jets are offering? Who knows what the Packers want? But I can't imagine that.
I mean, if he goes to them, goes, "I'm retiring" or "trade me," they might just take what they can get.
Yeah, which I'd be shocked if he hasn't done that already. and that's pretty much what he said on. That's he's said everything but that, directly. So I don't know. I just think it's a matter of time before that gets done. If it doesn't, that would be a crazy story. Apparently Ezekiel Elliott also has the Jets on his list, so it seems like everybody wants to go play with Aaron Rodgers whenever he does get traded to the Packers. I mean, the Jets.
I mean, I don't know why Zeke is on the list side. They have Brees Hall, so they have no need for Zeke. But the other thing that I think is interesting is I think Rodgers definitely wants to go somewhere where he has a chance to win a Super Bowl. I can't think of any borderline teams that are showing interest or who he could go to. You can make a valid argument that if the Jets do get him, add OBJ, maybe bring in another player or two, they are Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's not the same situation. And I think the Jets are a good team. They were a good team last year up until pretty much Brees Hall got injured. We should play if let's assume he gets traded to the Jets. Everyone should be cautious about, crowning them because
crown.
Well, we saw what happened last year with Russell Wilson to the Broncos. I thought they were going to be contenders. And that's a loaded division. The Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots, depending on what else they do in the draft. And, you can never really count them out. It's a tough division.
But go back 2 years and look at Matt Stafford going to the Rams.
The Rams have a lot more experience at that point than the Jets do. The Jets are still a young team. They don't have the same weapons on offense that the Rams had.
Look at those Russell Wilson Seahawks teams. They had a young, talented defense. They had a good running back. They had tough receivers.
Situation. And Russell Wilson was a mobile quarterback, and they ran a lot back then with Marshawn Lynch and Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers ain't going to run out there with the option. If Aaron Rodgers can play well and their team plays the way they played last year, probably a contender. But I'm just not saying, don't write it down on the, in the books just yet.
I'm just saying if Aaron Rodgers can give them 20-5 and 3,000 yards, they're a playoff team.
If Brees Hall comes back healthy.
I think he will. Even if he's not as explosive as he was his rookie year, even at 80%, he's good enough. And what's their left tackle?
Mekhi Becton.
Yeah, if he comes back and he
hasn't been
even gets close to what we thought he was going to be as a first round draft pick, that would be a big deal for them.
Yeah, listen, I'm, it's no secret if you actually listen to us that I'm the biggest Aaron Rodgers hater here.
Yeah, you call him Kirk Cousins.
So I'm a little more skeptical. I say he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and pure thrower of the football. I wish I could do it, but guy's an a-hole.
Been a lot of a-holes who won Super Bowls.
He's only won one.
It's one more than a lot of people.
It's 5 less than Tom Brady.
Okay, well, it's only one less.
6 less.
It's only one less. It's only one less than Peyton Manning.
5 less than Michael Jordan.
All right. There. Well, moving on.
1 less than Eli Manning.
That might be a little dagger. All right. Next thing on the list to go over that happened this week. Former Eagles safety and Saints safety CJ Gardner Johnson. He ends up taking a 1-year, $8 million deal to go play with the Lions. not really the market he was hoping for. I think he was hoping to get the contract that uh, Justin Simmons got, which was the 4-year, $61 million, or get close to it. Doesn't get anywhere near that. Leaves the Eagles, who is going to be coming next year with really high expectations, and we know what their team is about. He had arguably his best year with that defense, and now he's going to the young upcoming Detroit Lions. Resident Eagles fan, Sassafras, what do you think?
He was there, and now he's not. Apparently, they tried to offer him a multi-year deal, that being the Eagles. This is according to a source with ESPN. Not a personal source, of course. They tried to sign him to a multi-year deal. He didn't like it. He thought he could get more on the open market. Then, everybody knows what happened. The Eagles surprisingly signed James Bradbury, and after the Darius Slay saga, ended up keeping him, both for pretty good deals, I think, for caliber of cornerback. Both of those players are. And then the rest of the league, I guess, felt the same way about CJ Gardner Johnson and safeties in general. I mean, other than Jesse Bates, nobody really got good deals, and apparently he wanted a deal like Jesse Bates. Now there's rumors out there that, this always happens, and I don't want to say it. There's, character things, because I don't know him personally, and I loved him on the Eagles. I wanted them to re-sign him. But that's the reports are that, maybe there were some, blips on the radar as far as his character is concerned. Maybe not super easy to, rally in. The Eagles had a good core and veterans that were able to do that. And, he was throwing out tweets and stuff like that. And even his agency that he's with threw out tweets, like putting out offers that they were receiving, like, this deal that we got him is obviously way better than what was offered to us, which that seems like it's a no-no in the NFL and agent world to put that out into the airways.
Yeah. The other thing is, take his, rumored, attitude or whatever, his behavior out. He had by far his best year with the Eagles, but he was still injured. And interceptions are, kind of a streaky stat. The great players, always get them, but outside of the truly greats, which I don't think he is, you see it. You're in the right place at the right time. You might have a really good front, which the Eagles had a great front this year. That makes life easier for the safety. So I don't really look at those numbers when you're grading someone. I think he is a good player, but I think he, I can't think of the term, but like,
he rolled the dice and came up short.
Yeah, perfect. He left the Eagles, said, I'm going to bet on myself, and didn't work out. We see it happen all the time. We talked about in the past, looking at the NBA. You can, every year there's an NBA player.
Dennis Schroeder is definitely the prime example.
Yeah, look at that player. They get a very good offer. They go, they act like they're insulted by that. They go, I'm going to go find some money elsewhere. And it never works out. So, I'm not mad at him. Hopefully he has a good year with the Lions. One thing I did laugh about was last night or 2 nights ago when he was getting introduced with the Lions. He was like, I think this Lions defense is better than the Eagles. And I'm just like, I think he said there's more talent here than in Philadelphia. I'm just like, okay, just blatantly lie in your first press conference.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they got some young talent on the Lions, but I think we could all agree that the Eagles defense is pretty good.
The Eagles defense was arguably the best defense, and the Lions defense was arguably the worst defense in the league. So
Yeah, especially because Jeff Okudah can't get it together. He's got probably one more year to prove it, being a first-round pick. Let's see what happens. They probably might address that secondary some more. I know they signed a couple players, though.
But yeah, this just goes to show grass isn't always greener.
It's not.
I'm not mad at him, but he basically forced himself into this past year was a prove it year for him. He left the Saints, who were, apparently not super happy with him. Isn't he a former first round pick?
I'm not sure if he was first.
I don't think so.
Well, while you look that up, he kind of forced his way out of New Orleans, went to the Eagles. This was basically a prove it year. Had a solid year.
Fourth.
Oh, never mind. I was wrong. But still.
Fourth.
Saints weren't super happy with him. Traded him to the Eagles. Had a prove it year. Played pretty good. Misplayed his hand, if you will. And now he's going to have another prove it year. And we'll see how.
Didn't he start off at corner too with the Saints? He started off at corner.
He's kind of a hybrid.
I do remember he was playing that Cortland Finnegan role the year before. He was beefing with I can't remember who it was all season. Got his helmet ripped off.
Oh yeah,
he got it. Yeah. CJ Gardner Johnson is the one that got his chain ripped off and then punched.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was a division rival, I think.
Was it the Bears receiver?
Yeah, so. It was. Yeah, it was like a couple times that year though. He had an incident, and the Bears receiver was somebody who definitely shouldn't have been doing that. If you wanted to, he wasn't a solidified receiver. There was a young guy. I can't remember who it was. It was I know his name.
5, 4, 3.
He ended up on the Raiders this past
1.
Season,
yeah. But in other player news, Elijah Moore
Mims
gets
Denzel Mims.
No,
he's on the Jets.
You sure?
No, whatever. We don't have time to
whatever. We're going. It's gone.
Sims, yeah, might have been Sims. Elijah Moore gets traded to the Jets. He gets traded for the number
third.
The Jets get the number 42 pick, and the Browns get more in the 74. If we look at Elijah Moore, he hasn't quite lived up to his draft standing. He was a second round pick for the Jets. He's had, of course, my computer's going to freeze right now. He's played in the league for 2 years now, and his rookie year, he had 500 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Only in 11 games. That was a good year.
But then this year, he plays in 16, starts in 9, and he gets 401 touchdown.
I think he's a casualty of his area, 100%, of his team.
And well, the other thing is, he's a little slender build. He's 5'10", 178. That's what he's listed as. So he definitely is a type, to me, he's the type of player that you have to actually scheme for. And I know coming out of Ole Miss, he was marketed as this quick, twitchy, explosive receiver, similar kind of to Tavon Austin, small, twitchy receiver, and it just doesn't really work out. He's not bad, but
Zach Wilson never targeted him, literally ever.
Yeah. Well,
every time a different quarterback would come in the game, he would get looks and he would be productive.
Well, apparently Aaron Rodgers didn't want to play with them.
Well, I think it was either way. I think just the whole relationship between him and the Jets kind of, started to fall into pieces with because even Robert Saleh kept trying to pussyfoot around it. Why he wasn't getting targets and all this stuff.
Wasn't he always throwing a fit on Twitter, or wasn't it this year a reporter asked him about his involvement in the offense, and he's like, "Well, they're not throwing me the ball, so."
Yeah, and that's the case though. That was the case, and then every time Zach Wilson wouldn't play, he would get targets, and he said be productive. He has Zach
Yeah,
Wilson problem is what it was.
I'm gonna pull up his splits for this year
Because he went off with Mike White and Joe Flacco in his rookie year, got hurt, and then this year, every time, like I said, I remember who the other guy was. It was like third string for the Jets.
If we look at his splits this year, he literally for the first few weeks of the season, it was just 1 catch, 2 catch, 2 catch. He had a little stretch in the middle of the year, sort of, where he went for 2 for 60, 6 for 60, 4 for 50. But, for a second round pick, he's kind of just putting up, third string receiver numbers, really. Like, you can find any receiver off the street to give you 40 catches and 500 yards, honestly.
Yeah, we'll see how he does alongside Amari Cooper and Deshaun Watson. It does give them another weapon. They have him, Njoku, aired out. Deshaun Watson's got to get it together. Obviously he got better every week. He hadn't played for a long time, but still not a lot of hope there in Cleveland, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't hate the move by the Jets because if you decide the earlier a lot of reports show that the longer you linger with a player that's not performing up to what you gave up to acquire them, whether it be contract or draft capital, the longer you sit on it, the worse it ends out. So I know a lot of teams kind of get clingy to players they brought in, but I'm pretty sure the quicker you move away from them, the better it is for you.
Yeah, plus they have wide receivers. They signed Lazard already. There's still members of OBJ. I mean, there's not like they don't have people there.
Wilson.
Yeah, well, exactly. Offensive rookie of the year. So,
yeah,
I think it was a good move for both parties.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Sucks for him. He ended up on the Browns, but at least he's out of New York.
Yep, them doo-doo Browns. Can't stand them.
Yeah,
ugly.
And just
disgrace.
Also, the player name was Javon Wims. I was close with the Mims.
Mims ain't nothing close to Williams.
Wims.
I said Wims.
Oh, Wims.
Williams.
Williams.
Let's say Williams. Let's say it fast. Wims. No, Williams.
Do you C minus?
Yeah,
Wims.
That was funny to bring up I mean, you brought up the Cortland Finnegan role. It doesn't hurt to have a little, a player in your defense causing trouble. I mean,
cost some people the game sometimes. So yeah, bastards.
KG, one of the greatest, as good as.
Oh, don't compare nobody to KG.
No,
anything's saying, possible.
I'm just saying, KG is maybe you could argue one of the best defenders in NBA history, and he might be. On top of that, the all-time greatest trash talker. So sometimes it's good to be good at both.
This is some wild stuff.
Yeah, there was a highlight of him that goes around all the time. I see of him on the sideline. I think he's been retired, and he's just saying, "Oh, you trash!" and just going. The dude's like going to go. He's like, "Oh, you suck! You can't play." He just keeps going and going and going, and he's not even playing anymore. He's talking mad shit.
Yeah, he's great.
Wasn't he apparently one of the reasons why Andrew Wiggins wanted to leave the Timberwolves because he would be getting on him about his effort and whatnot, his own teammate?
I think that was a rumor.
It's probably true. Next up on the schedule, Cam Newton trying to make a comeback. Works out at Auburn's pro day.
I've seen one highlight, one freaking highlight of this goddamn praise. Oh, Cam Newton throws a dot. It was one throw. Where are the rest?
I don't care what an NFL quarterback does in a pro day.
Yeah.
Let's look at his highlights last time he was with the Patriots.
Isn't it like just going to an open workout like Kaepernick was trying to do?
Or the Carolina.
There's nobody. There's no pads on. There's no defense. What are we looking at here? He can't read coverage. That's not.
My thing is, yeah, anybody can show up to Trevor. 6 years ago, you could have showed up to a workout.
I think I could go out there and throw a ball that looked like that right now. Maybe not Trevor. I might fall over and be in pain if I threw cross body like that. But I can throw a spiral. Yeah, you guys can throw a spiral.
You could go to a pro day, walk up to an imaginary line, and be like, set, hut, hike the ball, do a little spin around loop to loop, set your feet and sling a spiral to a receiver 30 yards, 40
Not
yards
even me.
downfield.
Like any one of us could do that. Anybody that can throw a football can do that. What he did.
Like that reminds me of what was it 2 years ago for Zach Wilson when he threw that bomb in his pro day and everyone was like drooling over him. They're like, "Oh my god, he's the next Mahomes." And we were like, he literally just set his feet and threw 60 yards downfield. I'm sure there's 100 guys that could do that same throw.
And listen, we're not haters because that's all facts. The other thing that's facts, he's 34, 33, almost 34 by the time the season starts. His last season with the Patriots in 2020, he had 8 touchdowns to 10 picks. His completion percentage was not bad, 65.8. And then his last season with Carolina in 2021, he was 0 for 5. He had 54 completion percentage, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Let's go back even further. 2019, he played 2 games with Carolina. He had 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. You got to go all the way back to 2018 to when he had a positive quarterback interception ratio.
I mean,
still had a losing season. He's had 1 winning season since the Super Bowl.
The thing is, I think his arm's dead. And how often do you see a quarterback with a dead arm come out and be like, "Oh, my arm's fine, I fixed it"? I can't think of an example. Once your arm's gone, your arm's gone.
Now, he did have 12 touchdowns rushing with New England and 600 yards, but like they like catered to that heavily.
Listen,
that didn't really pay off for him.
Listen, if he said, "I want to come back and be a gadget for a contending team,"
he says he's better than.
That's what I was getting to.
A lot of starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
I was going to get there, but before we get to that, because that's going to be a long debate. Not even a debate, because I think we all agree. If he came out and said, "I want to go on a winning team and be a gadget player on like a 1-year, $5 million deal," I support that. He can be a gimmick quarterback, fullback, probably play some like H-back and be productive for you. He's still a good athlete and he's still a big body. He's not playing quarterback. Now what you guys are talking about, I don't remember his exact quote, but it was saying there's not 32 quarterbacks
better than me in the league. We could list 32 and then we can add some more on the upcoming rookies that are about to be in the league. I don't think we have to list all 32 quarterbacks because it is what all the ones that got starting jobs last year are better than Cam Newton.
Yeah. So can I, speed through? Oh, great! My computer just stopped.
I take Heineke over him.
Let's go through a quick list, real quick. I'll do it rapid fire. Just say, which quarterback you prefer: Lamar Jackson, or Cam Newton. Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Joe Burrow. Watson. Russell Wilson. Davis Mills on the Texans, but they're probably going to draft a top 5 quarterback. Doesn't count. Anybody would take a top 5 quarterback.
I would still
Gardner Minshew.
I would still take Davis Mills. Gardner Minshew, 100%.
It's true.
100%.
Gardner Minshew, but they're also probably going to have a different quarterback from the top 5.
I'm taking Gardner, 100%.
Trevor Lawrence, obviously. I'm not even going to ask you guys because I know what your answers are. Patrick Mahomes. Jimmy G with the Raiders. I'd probably take Jimmy G operating an offense. Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson's garbage. But the Jets are probably going to get Aaron Rodgers. Kenny Pickett.
I'd still take Zach Wilson.
Listen, as much as we hate Zach Wilson, I think he could at least, without a shadow of a doubt, give me the same production as Cam.
Zach Wilson's just garbage. But that
take
doesn't
Sam
count
Darnold
because Aaron Rodgers is going to start. Kenny Pickett, obviously, he's going to go. Tennessee Titans. I think you can have a tiny bit of an argument here, just because I think Ryan Tannehill's better. No, but I think Cam Newton can maybe do something with Derrick Henry. Excuse me, but Ryan Tannehill's a better quarterback, obviously, lately.
And I'd still take Malik Willis too.
Yeah, you got a young quarterback there. Falcons, Desmond Ridder. He's a second-year quarterback.
It's only second year.
Kyler Murray, we all don't like him, but we would all take Kyler Murray. Panthers, Andy Dalton, but
I would take Darnold. I would take Baker if you counted him there now. I'd take all
he's
that.
not there anymore.
Well, he's a buck. Yeah, I'm just saying it depends on where you count.
Yeah.
I'm going off last season.
So that one, Andy Dalton didn't play bad with the Saints.
Here's the thing. Andy
Dalton
Dalton
knows what he is.
If you have Andy Dalton starting for you, I think he can get you 20 touchdowns. Will he also have 15 interceptions? Probably. But I think he can get you to 20 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I don't know if Cam Newton can get you 20 passing touchdowns anymore.
Yeah. All right. Justin Fields, obviously. Dak Prescott, obviously. Jared Goff, he did really good last year. Packers, we don't know who their quarterback's going to be. Jordan Love. Yeah. Rams, Stafford, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt to Stafford. Kirk Cousins, even though he sucks in the playoffs, we'll take Kirk Cousins. Derek Carr, everybody likes Derek Carr, kind of, unless you're the Raiders. Daniel Jones, big money. Daniel Dollars is now his name. I would take Daniel Jones. He's pretty much a better version of Cam Newton. Jalen Hurts, come on now. Second question.
Easy.
Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, combination of the Broken Brothers. We would
the
take
Broken
both,
Brothers.
Probably. Geno Smith on Seattle, resurrected his career, comeback player of the year. Obviously, he deserves it. Everyone here thought so.
That's blasphemy.
Kyle Trask / Baker Mayfield.
I'd take Baker over Cam.
I'm not a fan of Baker
Mayfield.
Much about. I would roll the dice on drafting a quarterback over Cam Newton if I was the Bucks. But yeah, and then Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, Commanders. I would take either one.
That's my dogs.
Yeah. So there's your starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and we almost unanimously think that we would prefer what is already there / a high draft pick.
Soon to be there, yeah.
So,
all right.
Case closed.
Yeah, just real quick. I think we've all just decided that even if you were questioning your team's quarterbacks, you would rather just take a rookie than Cam. But just let's look at Cam's numbers, right? First year in the league, we're just talking about touchdown to interception ratio, 21-17. Second year, 19-12. Third year, 24-13, not bad. Then he's 18-12, not great. MVP year, 35-10, by far his best. Only time he has a better than 2-to-1 ratio. Only time he's above 2-to-1. All other times he's below 2-to-1, and 2-to-1 is usually the threshold. Then he's 19-14, then 22-16, then 24-13, and then since he's, we all think he probably has a dead arm, 0-1, 8-10, 4-5. So his last 3 years combined, he's thrown for 4,000 yards with a 12-16 touchdown to interception ratio. And I doubt he's going to come back for the veteran minimum. So
it's a wash.
There's no comeback. It's not happening.
Yeah,
as a quarterback.
He's also getting into a social media beef with Shannon Sharp after Shannon Sharp says he's pretty much garbage.
Yeah, I was looking at that
for a while.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp literally said
that's
hasn't
just
been good.
Just throwing that out there too. Cam Newton's always not saying he wasn't a good leader or can't be a good leader, but this is the kind of antics he always has gotten into as well. Why deal with it? Why deal with any kind of baggage, especially with an aging quarterback who,
Well, this is Cam Newton's
I'm not trying
response.
to be disrespectful either, but the facts are the facts.
Well, this is Cam Newton's response to Shannon Sharp. Not denying some of the facts you brought up, but if you give me a full offseason to learn what I'm supposed to do with a stable franchise, I promise you I'll prove that I'm no random.
The Patriots aren't one of the most stable franchises in the NFL.
You're 33 going 34. What are you talking about? Give me an offseason to learn. You're not a 21-year-old rookie.
Will you teach me to football?
You're a former MVP. If you can't come in and basically lock up the starting job, you're not gonna play. If he would take the Andy Dalton role and just say, hey, pay me to be a chill backup, come in spot starts, I'm sure he would have a job. But he's going on saying there's not 32 quarterbacks better than me. I should be able to start. I should be able to start for a franchise. That doesn't work out.
You know, Cam Newton is not a. What has the quote go? He's not a has. What is it?
He's not a has been. He's a never was.
He's never was. Not true. He went to the Super Bowl. They had a great defense that year, and he played great. They had big boy Calvin Benjamin. That was a Super Bowl year, right?
I don't even know if he had Calvin Benjamin. It was Ted Ginn and that Michigan wide receiver. What's his name? I can't remember.
Oh, Devin Funchess.
Devin Funchess and Greg Olsen.
Mm-hmm. Right. Greg Olsen.
No, I think Calvin Benjamin was on the team still, but he had his injuries. And
that was before then?
He was overweight.
Injuries? Is that what we're calling it?
Overweight.
Eddie Lacy disease.
Yeah, Eddie Lacy's.
Oh, man. I loved Eddie Lacy.
Me too.
He was so good that one year.
He was good.
Kelvin Benjamin played in 2014, had 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. He didn't play in 2015.
I think he
only played for Carolina for 2 years.
Yeah, he has Eddie Lacy disease.
He went to Buffalo.
Yeah, he played.
And remember, if you remember, when he went to Buffalo and Carolina played them, and Cam Newton went to like dap him up in the warm up section, and Kelvin Benjamin like pushed him away, and I was like, not a good look.
Yeah, I remember that. Eddie Lacy was a beast. Let me look up his stats real quick.
He was a.
I'll never forget that
big boy. When he showed up
to training camp, I've never seen somebody look so much different than they did this like a couple months before.
Give him a chance. I mean, come on. Jerome Bettis was a fat lard.
Yeah, but he was in shape.
Well, how do you know Eddie Lacy wasn't in shape?
Because
there's a difference between go out there,
their careers,
run up downs. Yeah, because Eddie Lacy didn't get a chance. He averaged 5.1 yards per carry in 2016. The Seahawks didn't really do anything. Well, 2.6 yards per carry, but he gives a chance to all big boys around the world. 1,100 yard years, 11 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns. Good old days. Heyday for the NFL.
The problem is he'd run for 10 yards, and then he'd come out for 3 plays to catch his breath.
Yeah, if he didn't have his cheeseburger on hand, you were effed.
He's the cheeseburger Eddie of the NFL.
Middle of the game, you see him after a run. He's
wrecked my entire setup.
He's in the bottom of the pile, and you see him pull out a McDouble and just start eating it real quick. What the hell's going on there?
That'd be so funny. Gotta love it.
What could have been?
We love the big boys.
Anything else you guys wanted to discuss today?
DeAndre Hopkins putting some cryptic Instagram story. We played the picture of him with Buffalo Soldier playing in the background with the lyrics on the screen.
If he gets traded to Buffalo, I'm stabbing somebody.
I think, and also Pac-Man Jones is apparently close to some sources. He had said Buffalo, Baltimore, I think New England, and one other team I can't remember.
Someone said Tennessee. I don't want him. I'm not paying $20 million to have DeAndre Hopkins play in a run-heavy offense.
Yeah, who wants to pay for a personal trainer that only works out your fingers?
What? What? Did I miss something? Who's getting their fingers worked out?
DeAndre Hopkins.
He gets his fingers massaged?
No, he gets a personal trainer that just does finger exercises. He's a grip.
Oh, well, he's got good hands.
PEDs.
The Instagram stuff never. Oh, well, probably. He does his little SpongeBob flex, and it's like another muscle comes out and flexes. The Instagram stuff is always false. Like whatever it's like players troll or something. They're like, well, this would be funny to do. Maybe they just want to catch the team's attention. Who knows? But did you mention the Ravens, Taylor?
I did.
Well, RJ did.
now that would be a great trade if they were able to keep Lamar Jackson.
They need a receiver like that.
Lamar Jackson.
Why?
needs a
So
receiver
Lamar
like
can
that.
overthrow him on the sideline?
No, he
Stop.
needs wide. He needs receivers with wide catch radius, large.
Yeah, it's all about the catch radius, exactly.
Catch radius.
So Mark
There's
Andrews.
a reason why Mark Andrews.
Get out of my head. Okay, bye.
If you're the Ravens, would you trade the disgruntled Rashad Bateman for DeAndre Hopkins?
Yep.
Yeah, or if you keep Bateman, at least you have two good receivers now.
I would be like
Stay
Lamar.
healthy.
Come back for 1 year on this tag. We'll trade for DeAndre Hopkins. And then I saw, is it Mike Florio with Pro Football Focus?
Maybe.
Whatever his name is. He said that the Ravens should sign him to the tag, and then to get him to play, they should offer him like a game bonus every game. Like he said, $1 million. That would get him, so that would be 16 million or 17 million. That would get him to almost 50 million. Maybe that would get him to play. That's not a bad idea. And I would do it. I'd be like, okay, let me get, if the Ravens are healthy and they have Lamar Jackson for 1 year and DeAndre Hopkins and make a few other small moves here and there. I don't know, have a good draft.
Yeah, I just
Do
think
all
I'll
that.
Run back
Lamar.
one more and then let him go.
Do all that just to come in second to the Bengals again?
Ooh. Or even the up and coming Kenny Pickett, Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm just saying.
It's not a bad
about Super
idea.
Bowls.
Yeah,
I just
no,
don't think I don't think he's playing for the Ravens. I think that's
either.
over.
Well, I'm still 50. I don't know about him leaving, but I think he's still so worried about injuring himself that he doesn't want a 1 year deal. Anything 1 year. He wants.
Apparently, he doesn't want a 3 year deal.
Apparently, that's what we tweeted that 3 year deal. I need an agent.
Yeah.
Well, all I'm saying is I'm in agreement. If DeAndre Hopkins goes to the Bills, we riot.
Just for Josh Allen to choke in the playoffs again?
It's possible. It's certainly possible. Well, hopefully we're going to be out of this free agency window soon, and some of these moves will get finalized, so we can cover those. Draft is coming up. So we're going to start doing our draft research and our draft coverage. My personal...
One final note. Washington should be sold, hopefully within the next few weeks. It's the buzz around town. Almost
by
forgot
an
that.
anonymous bidder, West Side and the boys.
Canadian.
But Emma's playing Fortnite.
Oh, I thought it sounded like Soldier Boy in the background, like, yo! I was like, what the fuck?
I guess she just got to win or snipe someone. Draft's coming up. So we're going to start doing our draft research. I think we want to do a little no interference mock draft, see how that goes. So look out for some draft coverage coming up. We're not too shabby with scouting prospects, so
just saying.
We
definitely tune in.
We got the live draft show again this year.
Give you some. We definitely last year broke news before the draft did, so if you want to be ahead of the schedule, definitely.
I gotta pull out my sources again.
Yeah,
sources. I'm gonna find out these sources one day. I swear to God. Probably I had cold dead hands.
But that's gonna do it for today's show. This is No Interference. We're your hosts, Westside, Big Sass, and the Bull. As usual, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you saw or heard, give us a like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. We're available on YouTube and Spotify, and you can follow us on our social medias on Instagram and Twitter at The NI Show. Thank you for anyone who takes the time to give us a listen, and that'll do it. So adios.
See you later.
Peace.